Hi, ladies and gentlemen. In this video, we're going to be covering some very challenging topics, let's put it that way. Many of you are familiar with what's been happening with Israel and Palestine over the last few days. There are countless horror stories of Israeli women being killed, raped, taken captive, children being burnt alive, and being killed in their sleep. I usually try and avoid political sentiment because religion is more of a thing that I'm interested in. But this isn't really politics, it's more morality. And what we've seen, particularly in Britain, although it's all over the world, but in Britain, the place where I'm from, I feel like I can talk about this a little bit. There's been video footage that's gone online of what you could say is representative of large proportions of the population in Britain when it comes to the support of Palestine, in effect, without limit. There is no limit to how much they will support Palestine. Palestine could nuke the world and they'd still say, free Palestine, right? It's just insane. Let's watch this first clip. This first clip is of what you might consider to be symbolic of the Muslim perspective on the current situation in Israel, which is overwhelming support for Palestine, enough to tear down posters asking for help finding potentially dead children. Let's watch this clip.
Why don't you do something for Palestine? Why don't you?
This is for Palestine.
They're not mutually exclusive. It's children. It's children. It's innocent people.
Okay, what about the children in Palestine?
That's not. It doesn't make it. Oh,
Why?
Jesus.
The person who would put these flyers up is also the same person who's recording on their phone. This person is a Jewish lady who, let's be completely honest, is being incredibly brave by trying to do this. She's going to areas in London that have populations of people of whom are Muslim and they don't agree with Israel at all and largely don't care, seemingly, with dead children who were killed during their sleep. That's nice to know. Of course, this is just, to any neutral observer, this is horrific, but for some very bizarre reason, there are large groups of people that think this is acceptable. And that's not where it ends. It goes on much worse than this. There have been cases, particularly in North London, in areas that have significant Jewish populations. There have been restaurants and shops that have been vandalized and attacked, again by predominantly Muslim groups that favor Palestine over Israel, even when Palestine is responsible for the deaths of children.
Fresh graffiti in the Jewish heart of North London, and a sense of old wounds now reopened. A suspected burglary at a kosher restaurant left an uneasy community concerned that this was motivated by anti-Semitism. As police stepped up their patrols, for many in this part of the city, the attack on Israel is personal, and there's fear that ordinary people will be targeted in their workplaces or at Jewish schools.
My daughter is concerned. She's got a 9 and a 5-year-old, and the 9-year-old is very concerned. I heard this morning that a lady was taking her child to school, and as she was dropping the child off to school, a car went past shouting, Allah Akbar. Why are they frightening little kids going to school?
Michael has family in Israel. He's had bad news about 2 of his relatives.
One of them, they found his body. The other one, we don't know what happened to him. He's disappeared. We don't know, we have no idea what happened to him.
He feels helpless and concerned for his family here too.
We don't feel safe. We don't think the police take it very seriously. We don't think that we are taken seriously. We think we are just being mocked.
Religious leaders say across Europe, Jewish communities feel threatened.
A friend of mine in Barcelona contacted me saying, Rabbi, don't go out in the streets of London, be careful. And I think there is a sense we have to be careful, we have to be vigilant.
Some now feel compelled to travel to Israel and join the call-up of army reservists.
I'm going back on Wednesday. Please God if the flight's going to be available. I have a flight, but I don't know if it's going to happen. And yeah, everybody's there. And we're just protecting our home.
I don't care where you stand on this politically speaking. I really don't care. You could be on either side. I just don't understand how you can look at pictures and videos of dead children and the first thought you have, the first genuine thought that you have is free Palestine. If you do that, you are a mad person. You are absolutely mad. Any person who's not a psychopath or a sociopath would genuinely have empathy and just a emotional response of some sort about those children who were killed. And yet that's not what we see, particularly in the UK. We saw demonstrations of large crowds who had gathered together not in the name of the dead children, not in the name of the kidnapped victims, not in the name of the raped women, not in the name of the peaceful family members who were attending a music festival, but in the name of a nation state that is headed by Hamas, a terrorist group. How is that acceptable? We all know it's not. Let's be honest. So this is the general view of many groups within the UK and the fact that they care more about Palestine than dead babies. And I'm phrasing it that way because in all honesty, I don't... When something like this is brought up and when you can clearly see an evil and you see video footage of an evil and your response is, well, actually, then I think you have a problem. I think you're equivocating. I think you're intentionally trying to make things on an equal level because you secretly sympathize with the people who did it. I think that's really what goes on there. There's no other situation. There is actually no situation in which a person can justify the killing of children. I really don't think that works. Let's check out some of the Dawah guys, because the Dawah guys, you know, they've obviously been called for to give a response to this. You know, Muslims have been wondering, what should we do now that Palestine's launched an attack on those children? What should we do now? You know, it's so evil you have to laugh, because to do otherwise is to be broken down by some of the evil things that you can watch online of what's happening in Israel to some of the most vulnerable people. First up, we have the very popular, very influential Salafi da'i, namely Shamsi. It's about Palestine. Responded with the, in his opinion, although he's not a scholar, in his opinion, Muslims should go out and help fight against Israel, which is just so beautifully timed with the fact that there are hundreds, if not thousands, of dead women and children. You know, why not? Why not call for fighting now? Brilliant timing. You ever seen the little British comedy sketch? It's got David Mitchell in it, I think, and he says, are we the baddies?
Have you noticed that our caps have actually got little pictures of skulls on them?
I don't...
Hands. Are we the baddies?
You know what? I think you are the baddies. Like really, when you actively suggest that yes, you should now go and fight. Really? Let's go watch the clip.
And go back to scholars. They will give you the solution. You're saying don't be the aggressor. Huh? He's saying that don't be the aggressor. Even if you have the weapon, all of that, start. Free your country, man.
You might think that that's quite bizarre, and you might think that that's even quite extreme. Well, actually, Shamsi's being a moderate, apparently. Yeah, you heard me right. Shamsi, according to Muslims in that crowd, is being a moderate. He is being a moderate by not actually going there himself. There are Muslims in this crowd, and I'm about to show this clip, who are actively saying, look, Shamsi, you know, you say that if you, in your opinion, people should go there and fight. Why aren't you fighting, Shamsi? Brilliant logic. Absolutely brilliant logic. I can't see anything wrong with that. It's absolutely horrifying to think that someone who has as much influence as Shamsi, who says that in his opinion, he would go out and fight, then turns around and realizes that the people he's speaking to are more crazy than he is, more obsessed with the destruction of innocence than he is.
When you ask Allah, you have to take a step as well to do it. No doubt, to make wudu, give charity,
no, when you ask Allah,
you have ikhlas.
That's somebody who's killing you and oppressing you, and you make a dua against them,
yes,
you're also supposed to do something against them.
Yeah, no problem, yes, it's true. If you're able, yes, yeah, no doubt.
So why do you have...
I said if you're able...
Problem, brother?
I didn't say I have a problem, but I said if you are able, akhi.
Do you not have hands and legs? Is that not able?
Akhi, we can... The only thing that we can do for Palestine, make dua for them, akhi. That's the only thing we can do.
What about them?
If I have the ability to help them physically, I would do it.
What about them?
Because they have been oppressed, my brothers and sisters in Palestine. Barakallah fiqh. But be realistic, akhi. I'm doing my duty by giving da'wah. Every Sunday here, when some Zionists come to learn against Palestine, I defend them. So I'm doing something to help Palestine. What are you doing?
May Allah bless you for
Khalas, akhi, barakallah fiqh. So don't try to make it like I'm against my brothers.
No, you're not.
Barakallah fiqh, akhi.
But you're against them fighting.
I'm not.
You said it yourself.
I said if they don't have the ability,
power, they shouldn't start a war.
Allah said then Quran and Sunnah.
But they're not starting the war, they're defending themselves, brother. This is why you're getting things wrong, bro.
Even defending yourself, Allah, in the Sahaba, they were oppressed. And Allah said to them, do not fight back. Even they were defending themselves.
So they come into your house, will you not fight back?
When Allah said don't fight back, are you going to make me kafir or what? Allah said, ya akhi. Are you going to make me angry or what? Allah said, don't fight back. Why? Because I have power. Do you have a problem with that?
Are we not?
I'm gonna walk away, man.
You might think, okay, well that's Shamsi, it's just one guy. Oh, no. This is all of them. Next, we can look at Mohammed Hijab. Here's Mohammed Hijab saying he's gone too far, evidently calling for Hamas to retreat out of Israel and to stop the killing of innocent. Oh, no, sorry. He's talking about Ben Shapiro, that well-known Jewish man. You might think that's bad enough, but there's some even more stupidity you can watch. There are Muslims out there who are trying to advocate the idea that Donald Trump and Joe Biden are secretly in allegiance and trying to work together to destroy Palestine. Yeah, that's a real thought apparently. And I think this is quite clearly just damage control. This is damage control by Muslims who need to speak for their communities because they're getting questions saying, you know, I just saw some video of some dead kids. That looks pretty bad. I'd rather not support that. And so they have to give some kind of response, because who on earth would support anything that you can see online regarding what's happening in Israel? Who would agree with anything that's been going on in the UK? The destruction of Jewish businesses. There's now talks of Jewish schools that are intentionally closing down because they don't genuinely believe it's safe for kids to attend schools currently. And that's in the UK, because there are significant groups of people who honestly care more about a Palestinian government, which is declared as a terrorist organization. They're more concerned about them winning a military war than they are about dead children. No idea. I have no idea why anyone would think now is a great time to talk about Palestine. How, if you flip this about any other country, I don't think anyone would do this. I think, you know, if you could pick two other countries, right? If Ukraine went into Russia and killed lots of kids, people will be very upset at Ukraine. If Russia went into Ukraine and killed lots of kids, people would be very upset at Russia. No one would use this as an opportunity to say, okay, I said no one, there's always some crazy person, but the overwhelming majority of people, I think, would be humbled. They wouldn't be somehow more energized. Why is it that killing innocent women and children energizes people to support their side? How do you even come to that? Where's the humanity in thinking that now's a good time to get the Palestinian flag and wave it at protest groups out in the streets in the UK? Where's the humanity there? You couldn't wait just a few days for the bodies to go cold. Instead, you went out knowingly as soon as you heard. Words can't describe it. I don't care where you stand on the Palestine-Israel conflict. I'm not well versed enough in it. What I do know, though, is that it's wrong to kill kids. Apparently, this is like a now controversial statement. We know this is Islamically based. We know from the Quran and Sunnah that Muhammad justified this behavior, particularly in the later parts of his life. He said that no one is free from him until they establish salat and pay zakat. That seems to be true today, particularly in Israel. The example that Christians follow, however, is not Muhammad, and it's not a war leader. It's not someone who executed people, had people engage in battles that led to the deaths of children, as the hadiths tell us, but rather someone who loved the world enough that he gave his life for the world. And that includes Jews, and that includes Gentiles, and that includes everyone, including Muslims, because Muslims are loved. It would be better if there was more love in the world and less in-group bias to the point of ignoring blatant humanitarian evils in the name of religion and race. Come to Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, and the life. We're taught to forgive our enemies, no matter who our enemies are. Rather, we're called to pray for them and hope that they repent and turn to the same one who forgave us when we were living in our sin. God bless you all, whether Muslim, Christian, atheist, or Jew, or any other belief. I hope you all have a great day. Take care.